Hey everybody, it's Michael from Replica Airguns with some more bad news pertaining to our Canadian gun laws. And so I'm going to be talking about a news release that came out August 5th, 2022. And this is from the CSAAA, which is Canadian Sporting Arms and Ammunition Association website. And Canada puts in place a temporary handgun import ban. So I want to talk about what this means, possibly how it's going to affect us here in the airgun community, or just replica guns in general community, airgun community. And so I'll be going through this report here, or this news release, and I won't be able to help myself. I'm going to have to add my 2 cents, of course, as we go. But this is from Global Affairs Canada. It is a news release put out August 5th, 2022, Toronto, Ontario, Global Affairs Canada. And so here we go. Canadians deserve to feel safe in their communities, period. Of course we do. That is why the Government of Canada has a comprehensive plan that gets firearms off our streets and more resources into our communities. Well, that's good. I think that's great. Getting firearms off the street, that's a fantastic thing that I think we can all agree on. A central part of this is the recently introduced Bill C-21. The bill addresses the alarming role of guns in gender-based violence, gets tough on organized crime, and most significantly introduces a national freeze on the sale, transfer, and ownership of handguns anywhere in Canada. So Bill C-21 is kind of going after a lot of long guns. I believe it's like 1,500 long guns that are scary. And apparently, according to this, it's gender-based violence. So I didn't think that gender existed anymore. I thought that you could basically identify yourself as whatever. So maybe these criminals who they think are male identify as female. So it could actually be females doing all of this. I'm assuming it's males, right? Because that's typically what seems to be the gender of choice. All right, so that's just my 2 cents, because now we're talking about gender. I thought we were off topic, but we're not allowed to do that anymore. But apparently you can in this news release. So the Honorable Melanie Jolly, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Honorable Marco Mendicino, Minister of Public Safety, today announced a temporary import ban on the importation of restricted handguns. And I think this would also apply to restricted rifles like AR-15s, even though they're part of this Bill C-21 buyback program that's essentially targeting 1,500 or so rifles mainly, AR-15s being some of them, anything that kind of looks really scary or that may have been used in some sort of shooting at some point. So, it's basically guilty by association. If somebody used one of these types of guns in some sort of shooting, then a lot of times they're going to target them, right? Even if they're no different than any other semi-automatic rifle. All right, this will help bring the ultimate impact of the national handgun freeze into force sooner. So they want to do a freeze on, this is a freeze on handguns. They want to pass in through Parliament, right? They want to pass laws basically stopping the import of handguns. This is a temporary freeze until they hope that happens. So this temporary ban means that individuals and businesses will no longer be able to import handguns into Canada, subject to narrow exceptions that mirror those in Bill C-21. These restrictions will take effect on August 19th, 2022, so it's coming up, and will last until the national freeze comes into force. So essentially, if a gun store is going to be buying handguns, they're still at this point, this is a freeze on import, not on sales. As far as I know, it's not on sales. It's on import into Canada. So, there's going to be obviously a crazy buying frenzy of handguns. So if you're a restricted PAL possessor, then you can go out and still buy them and transfer them at this point until they potentially pass a law that says you can't. But this is a freeze only on import. So better go out and get your handguns now and buy as many as you possibly can, which is probably the opposite of what they want to happen, but that's what's going to happen, right? So no single program or initiative can tackle the challenge of gun violence on its own. That is why Bill C-21 and the national freeze on handguns are 2 of the many elements in the government's comprehensive plan to keep Canadians safe. This begins at our borders, where we've added resources to fight smuggling and stop guns from coming into Canada. Hey, I completely agree with that. I agree that you should stop, illegal border import, which is not really import, it's smuggling. You should be stopping that. You should be stopping these types of crimes, and that would put less guns basically on the streets, right? Because I really don't think the problem is registered gun owners. We're also investing in prevention programs to tackle the root causes of gun crime and stop it before it starts. Finally, we banned assault-style weapons like AR-15s and will soon begin a buyback program to get these weapons of war out of our communities once and for all. So, the scary AR-15, which is basically a semi-automatic rifle that shoots a .22 caliber round. Yes, it goes fast, but you can only have 5 in it, right? Unless you're doing something illegal, which you can pretty much do something illegal with anything, because that's why it's illegal, right? There's always ways to do something illegally if you want to. But the AR-15 is a semi-automatic .22, right? And it's capped, basically, you have magazine capacities of 5 rounds. So that's the way it is, but apparently it is more dangerous than, say, a 7mm, rifle in semi-automatic that can pretty much go through like 3 or 4 people and do a lot more damage. But that's the way that they're, it's all on looks. It's all on, what people think and what the media wants to put out there, what's scary and dangerous and what a weapon of war is, what an assault weapon is. Like, there's not even really anything such thing as that. Okay, so quotes. We know that 1 Canadian killed by gun violence is one too many as a government. So it is our duty to ensure that Canada remains one of the safest places to live in the world. So yeah, not even one person is allowed to die by a gun, right? Not even if it's whatever, accidental, obviously during a crime, right? Because if somebody dies, if just one person dies, we got to fix this problem. We got to get rid of these things, right? I think what we should be doing too is I think trampolines are extremely dangerous. I know for sure that many, many people, hundreds if not thousands of people have been injured or killed on trampolines, breaking their necks. Just all sorts of tragedies happen with trampolines. We should get rid of them because we don't want one person to die from a trampoline accident. And pools are like one of the most dangerous and most common killers for children is pool accidents, right? Drownings in pools. And if one child were to die in a pool, we should get rid of all pools. There's no need for pools. It's a luxury. Why do we need luxuries like that? There's no need for it. Let's get rid of pools, trampolines, obviously ATVs, right? You don't need them for transportation. Any off-road vehicle, get rid of it. People die on those things all the time. Skateboards, that's another thing. People are doing crazy things. Maybe not dying as much, but lots of injuries, bicycle accidents, you name it, right? Like recreational sports, football, man, people have died doing that. I mean, this is something we need to look at and get rid of all of these things because we don't want 1 Canadian to die from any of that. All right. I'm getting a little bit sarcastic here, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. The import ban announced today will help to keep guns stay off our streets as we work towards implementing Bill C-21, reducing gun violence in the immediate term. Now, Melanie Joy, Minister of Foreign Affairs, my top priority as Minister is keeping Canadians safe in their communities. Today's announcement is further proof that we are using all tools at our disposal to fight gun crime in this country. It is a key pillar to our plan to address it, along with investments in prevention, action at our borders, a ban on assault-style weapons, and Bill C-21, Canada's most significant action on gun violence in a generation. Marco Mendicino, Minister of Public Safety. All right, so here's a couple thoughts over and above what I already said. Okay, so number one is taking away restricted firearms, handguns from, or not being allowed to import them and putting basically we're going to have a buying frenzy on handguns. Is that something that's going to stop gun crime in the streets? Most of these crimes, almost all of them, I'd say 99% of these crimes are with unregistered guns, like illegally brought in guns, like smuggled guns into Canada. They get on the streets. Some of these, guns, who knows where they came from? I'm not sure. Some of them might have been stolen, but that's a whole different thing, right? The thieves are going to steal. That's how they get them. So What are you going to do? Get rid of every single gun in Canada? Like this is a restriction on adding to the amount of guns, but there's already so many guns in Canada. Thieves are going to steal them, right? This isn't going to stop that from happening. Doesn't matter how many guns you don't bring in now. We still have so many. So this is just basically saying to people, honest, hardworking people that went out and got their license legitimately, registered their guns, did all the right things. Now we're being punished for what people that are not doing the right things are doing. It just doesn't make sense, right? And I've used this analogy before. It's like saying, well, we're having a problem with drivers that don't have their driver's license, that are basically stealing vehicles or using unregistered vehicles in crimes. They're going out there, they're causing injuries, they're speeding, they're crashing into people. And so because of these people that don't have driver's licenses, that don't have registered vehicles, that either stole them or got them illegally, and they're doing the damage, because of them, we are going to go after the driver's license, people with driver's license and registered vehicles that pay insurance, that 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100 are not the causes of these accidents, but we're going to go after them, and we're going to limit their choices, their abilities. We're going to restrict them in ways because these other people are the cause. Like, this just doesn't make sense. That's what they're trying to do here. It doesn't make sense at all. So really what I want to talk about too is, how does this affect the replica airgun side of things, the airgun side of things? Well, fortunately, at this point in time, it doesn't, as far as I know. This handgun ban is on restricted handguns, and all of the airguns that we sell in our store are unregulated firearms. So they're not regulated, they're not restricted, they're not regulated in any way. So they're not a regulated firearm, they're not a restricted firearm, they're not a prohibited firearm, they're unregulated firearms, so they don't fall into this category. The reason they're a firearm is because they can cause serious injury, so they've been lumped into the firearm category, which actually works out well for us, because being that they're a firearm, they're not considered replica. They're not considered a toy or a replica, which means we can still have them, okay? And they don't fall into any regulations or licensing or anything like that. So you don't need a business license to sell them. You don't need a firearms license to buy them. So now back in May, Trudeau, I believe, or one of his goons, basically said, okay, we're going to be getting rid of, one of the things we're going to be doing shortly is getting rid of toy replica guns. So that's the way he phrased it, toy guns, and saying guns that look like real guns, toy replica guns. He's sort of mixed and matched the wording. But he didn't say firearms. He didn't say replica firearms. He didn't say realistic, he didn't say air guns. He said toy guns. So it's really hard to understand exactly where he's going with this. I'm pretty sure he means like airsoft and replica BB guns and stuff like that. I think that's what he's shooting for, but he didn't explain it well, because our replica air guns, airsoft and BB and pellet, for instance, that look like real guns, are actually considered in our gun laws, or in our, all of that. Basically, they're considered to be a real gun, a real firearm. They're categorized as a firearm. So you can't be a firearm and a toy at the same time. So, for instance, an airsoft gun that shoots too low powered is considered a toy gun. So if your airsoft gun only, say, shoots 150 feet per second, it doesn't cause serious injury. It can't cause serious injury. It therefore is a toy. It's not a firearm. And if it looks like a real gun, then now it's considered a prohibited replica toy gun, not a replica firearm. Okay, so that's the distinguishing factor. That's what's allowed us to have these guns in Canada up until this point. That's what is allowing us to have them now. Hopefully that doesn't change. I don't know where Trudeau and his, bunch of, I don't want to say it, bunch of people working with him, I don't know where they're going with this. It doesn't make sense. They talk a lot about how, and these guns can be, police don't know the difference. I get it, right? Police can't tell the difference, because if someone's holding it, they might shoot them and find out it's a toy gun. Sometimes people will use a replica or a toy or something that looks like a gun to make the police shoot them. It's like a police suicide. It happens, right? Is that person going to commit suicide a different way if they can't do it that way? It's more than likely, right? So you just take that ability away, they're going to do it some other way. If someone's pointing a toy gun or whatever, a replica gun, whatever you want to call it, at a police officer and they shoot him, I believe it's a justified shooting. Is it sad that that happened? Yes, but you can't get rid of all the stupid people, like, and then punish the good people for all the actions of the stupid people. You just can't do that. You have to allow the stupid people to do stupid things. They bring themselves out, right? And maybe we will have, I hate to say it, less stupid people out there ruining it for everybody else. I don't want anybody to get shot or killed, but I don't want, people that have nothing to do with this getting punished for the idiotic things that other people are doing, right? So anyways, that's kind of my viewpoint. You can either agree with me or not. I just wanted to put that out there, let you guys know that at this point we're not affected. I can't tell you what the future holds. This world we live in has kind of gone crazy this last couple of years. Anything is possible, right? So let's just hope that it doesn't affect us long term. But I would suggest, there's going to be, obviously, if there is import bans on air guns, then we're going to be limited in stock at some point. And we might be limited in stock now because I think people are, they're like, hey, let's buy stuff now while we can. So I would suggest you do the same. Buy while you can. That's really all you can do because we don't know what the future holds. All right, thanks for watching another Replica Airguns video. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, check us out at replicaairguns.ca for Canada, replicaairguns.us for the US, where we have air guns, BB guns, airsoft guns, pellet guns, blank guns, and other accessories, at least for now. Until next time, take care.